hotter the conflict, the greater the triumph.
A theist serpent may be overcome by a swarm of ants.
Lead me, follow me, or get out of my way. Age wrinkles the body, quitting wrinkles the soul.
Battle Buddies.
Battle Buddies.
Who wrote this long series of space operas, and so I read them, and then I was like, I'm actually really into fleet combats right now.
Okay.
And Stellaris, it's been really scratching that itch. Satisfying ass game.
Interesting. So have you been looking at any of the fleets that have been going around currently on planet Earth?
Currently, no.
That might be something to dig into when you're taking a pooper. But I know you and I don't really go. We like more historical, more not necessarily current lens of things.
But it's made me commit to my next series is going to be heavy on fleet formations, whether infantry or naval.
Well, I feel like we did get into that with the Battle of Lady Gulf.
We did.
Highly.
Even the Battle of Salami, I thought we did pretty good with that.
That too as well. But we went into it where they were going down the Taiwan Strait. Is that right? Correct? One of the straits.
One of the straits.
And we went deep into the formations that the boats were going in.
Oh, yeah. And I can now pull some Stellaris. Yeah, they're doing picket lines, to cover for their battleships. And that's when we learned that smoke screens are real.
Very real. Very real.
Crazy.
Man, what were we watching recently where I was like, oh, smoke screens? They're using smoke screens? I forget. But yeah, it turns out when you and I have been studying nothing but war literature for the last 4 years, you might learn a thing or two about it.
Okay, I have a present for you, but it unfortunately didn't come in time. That's okay, because you'll get it next time. But I still want you to see the picture of it.
Yeah!
It says, Global War on Terror, I helped.
Would you like to know how much I like that hat?
How much?
Alan sent that to me, and I said, I really need that.
Oh, I knew you would love that. I was like, this is... After I was thinking about your essay that you wrote when we pulled out of the war, officially, or whatever, 2 years ago now? Has it been 2 years?
Oh, bro, I feel like it's been longer than that, friend.
Maybe. Before Trump got in, right? This last time?
I think it was 2021, so dude, honestly, I think it was like 5 years ago.
That makes sense.
Which makes you, time isn't linear anyway, as we learned with the Slaughterhouse-5, so.
Crazy. But anyway, yesterday when we pulled out of the war and you wrote that essay, I was like, wow, that's very much Spencer's vibe. I wanted to help. And I'm realizing my only takeaway as Spencer is I can't call him a soldier. That's my one bugaboo.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I remember in boot camp, all of us literally talking about, like, if anybody calls me a soldier, I will correct them.
No, it's
like, yeah, whatever. But that's all part of the indoctrination, which is really what we're going to be talking a lot about today, which is indoctrination and propaganda and rhetoric, which you might know a thing or two about.
Escalation of hate, baby.
But before we do that, I kind of want you and I to talk about just on a very surface level, what is a government? You know what I mean? Like, we have these huge governments, and then people obviously think of Washington, D.C. when you think of government, but it can also get down to the nitty-gritty of, like, my D&D group, and we get in arguments about words.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Last night.
Or when you got people protesting in, say, Portland, and you got Mother Athena coming up and flashing her badge. If you are not listening to our series on the Odyssey, go check that out, and that might make more sense. So what I have here to our left, your right, is San Francisco, circa 1934, July 5th.
And welcome to Battle Buddies, everybody. Sorry, Spencer's hosting, so I'm supposed to introduce us.
That's right. Our cold open was so cold that I just wanted to fucking dive in there. My bad.
No. We're going to dive in. This is going to be very short. We're Battle Buddies. We cover ancient and modern conflicts, and we do it expertly. And we never make mistakes. And this is Spencer, and I'm Kevin. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about fucking... Whew.
Oh, we're talking about fucking, huh? Nice.
This is our OnlyFans page.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
we're talking about fascism today, folks. We're going to go through a winding road of fascism today.
If an OnlyFans page would let us do podcasting full time to support the history side of our podcast,
I'd deeply consider it.
it wouldn't be an automatic no.
No. Correct, friend.
I'm old enough now to where I could talk to my parents about things if it got uncomfortable. It's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You guys made me. You're the weird ones. Anyway, we're out here in San Francisco, 1934, July 5th, right? They end up one day calling this Bloody Thursday. Now, essentially what happens here is it turns out when you get a big group of human beings together to do a bunch of people's work and you don't pay them enough money for them to feed themselves or their family, people get pissed.
Mhm.
Pissed.
It's weird.
Now, I know that every average day listener probably thinks of the Bay Area in San Francisco as this place where like there's a bunch of tech bros riding around everywhere and like driverless vehicles. And you would be correct. That is very much what it is nowadays. But it used to be very blue collar.
I know it did.
Yeah. Like this was a working class
Yeah.
American city at
Like
one point.
Vallejo having the freaking shipyard.
Yeah. Oh, and also was it Mare Island?
Yes.
And all of that. That is also used to be a Navy town. So the Bay Area used to be hugely blue collar, mainly workers. And on this day, 130,000 people went on strike.
That's crazy.
Yes, that's insane. That's like all of Vacaville plus 10,000 people.
Yeah.
So it'd be like our entire town going on strike.
And we have a big little town.
We do have a big little town. So all these workers gathered around and demanded higher wages. And
They got it?
Spoiler alert, people fucking died. 2 exactly. And hundreds of people were hospitalized. And when you have a movement such as this and then people die, 9 times out of 10, they become martyrs for a
Sure.
time being.
Yeah.
I was just in San Francisco yesterday and I was genuinely trying to look for remnants of this,
Mhm.
that of which I found none. But that's okay. That doesn't mean that didn't happen,
Right.
right?
That's like you don't see that many references to Harvey Milk anymore, but his legacy in that same kind of area and culture and time period still matters.
Perfect point.
later.
So the kind of idea that I want people to think about is like what human beings do when they have uncertainty and they want
Yeah.
to try and put certainty in their lives. Because human beings, even on a very individual level, when things go out of our control, we do respond and things do manifest in odd ways. Like we
Mhm.
try to gain
Yeah.
control in weird ways.
This is Danny Kahneman shit. Talk to my students every day about this.
Talk to me.
The future is unpredictable, but we don't think it is because we can, with certainty, look at the past.
Dude, yes.
That's it, right?
Yes, that. Very much that. So, can you go to my next slide?
Yeah.
People get weird when you don't know what the future
Fucking
looks
G
like.
right there.
And this is, yeah. Have you seen this picture?
Yeah,
So, this is a very famous picture. I forget his name, but
I know. I read his whole thing once.
yeah. So, the picture, for those who are not looking because they're driving, this is a picture of a bunch of people doing the Sieg Heil, like Nazi salute.
Yep.
And it's a huge group, and there's one dude with his arms folded, like, nah, I'm good.
You could clearly see the smirk, just like a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah, exactly. I do know that this gentleman was married to a Jewish woman.
Yes.
And, you know, I think that what I want people to reflect on when they see this picture is that they're like, well, obviously that would be me.
Right.
Because I would
Every
be
time. Yes.
I would be the one folding my arms and not doing the Sieg Heil. And I don't know.
No.
I don't know. And I'm not saying because I'm a racist. That's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that human beings in groups do tend to do things
Yes.
unconsciously.
Yeah. Yes.
And we've talked about this before on this podcast, and I'll bring it up again. But there's that famous line length test, right? Where Stanford or whatever university had a bunch of actors be like, hey, we're going to have a bunch of lines written on the board, and you need to lie and say that this line right here is the longest length.
Right.
They then bring in one guy who has no idea that these are all actors, and they all vote first. And he, 9 times out of 10, this person votes with the group rather than what the actual long line is.
Absolutely. And we cover it. I teach it every year. I just finished teaching it. Escalation of hate, like xenophobia. Like how does these things happen? They're very much something that you can track language wise and linguistically. Just I don't start by saying, hey, let's fucking kill everybody. I start by saying, man, the economy is really bad. That sucks and it's not your fault. Like what a great way to start that everyone says yes to that. And that's how you started. That's how Hitler started it.
Sorry, that was really funny. That is that simplicity that Kevin just said, that it really is a good to get people on your side.
Yes.
Because dude, we're gonna be talking about fascism a lot today, and a lot of the things that you see in the logic behind people's why they get down, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, dude. That makes sense.
Yeah.
As a person on the outside being like, oh, yeah. We do need to recreate our. Yeah, well, we're gonna get into that.
Fascism,
but anyway,
coming from Mussolini, the failed school teacher
in the 1920s, but it actually goes further back than that, and we're gonna get into that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, point being is that these ideas sometimes mirror us as people, and then if I want us to kind of like break it down even on like, because today we're gonna be talking a lot about music and subgenres of music, but like for instance. Have you ever thought about why your group of people do things? And I'll give you a perfect example. When I was in high school, when you were in high school, our subculture of emo kids and punk kids wore like women's skinny jeans.
Yes. I had my pair.
You know what I'm saying?
From Goodwill that we sewed skinnier.
Dude, and it's crazy because dudes have obviously like more muscular legs. So like some guys you're like, damn, bro. Your legs look huge, bro.
My senior year, I had a big old fat ass too.
Yeah, so I bet you fucking rocked that shit hard, bro. But did you ever pause and be like, why am I doing what? Because it's just that was like what that group did, right?
Yeah. I mean, I went through all of them.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Though? Sophomore year, playing ultimate frisbee competitively and listening to so much ska and wearing nothing but plaid shorts.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is perfect. And then I'm using this as an example of like how people mirror their little cultures that they get involved in. And I think the listener and all of us can all agree that we have had our phases of things that we tried out.
It's like what we've talked about this with flat earthers. How do you become a flat earther? You don't become a flat earther by somebody giving you a flat earth comment, because nobody listens to that for the first time. Like, makes a lot of sense.
You go out to lunch.
Yeah, you want to go bowling?
That's
yeah, I'm done.
With a round ball. Yeah.
Allegedly.
All right. Go ahead and click me on over to the next slide, sir. So today, since our case study that we're kind of looking at to unpack the idea of fascism is the Spanish Civil War, which took place this was truly the prequel to World War II, is what this was.
Okay.
And in order for us to move forward, I kind of have to have us understand exactly how Spain sets up its government.
Sure.
And so their government, we here in the United States, we have the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch, okay? And the idea behind that is that it's all supposed to check and balance each other, blah, blah, blah. But in Spain, the three-pronged approach that they have is the church, the army, and the monarch, so the king, essentially.
Yeah, no problems there.
None, dude. None whatsoever.
The Spanish Inquisition was glorious.
Dude, it's going to be like hard for me to truly describe to people just how much the church has an influence in the government of Spain. I had so many different ideas of how I wanted to do this. I thought on the big scale, the country level scale of like, oh, it would be like if Joel Osteen and these mega churches were in charge, and then you have obviously a king, and then whatever, your Pete Hegseths, and that's like, they're equally in charge. But I would probably prefer to break it down more in a simpler term of like Vacaville. So let's just talk about Vacaville for a second. Our government. It would be
the
like
Father's house.
That's exactly.
The Father's house has a lot of.
He said that so quickly. So, listeners, if you're not from Vacaville, Father's house is listen, they do a lot for this city.
This is the exact sentence every single fucking person says when they introduce the Father's house, because even though neither of us go to the Father's house, we're both scared of them. So we say this sentence that he's about to say. We've never said this to each other, but we don't have to. Go ahead and say that sentence. Sorry. This is hilarious.
The Father's house does a lot for this city,
They
bro.
do a lot for the city.
They literally have these trucks that drive around our town that say, "We love our city."
They go to the
And-
elementary schools and pass out food.
So they do.
They do the good work.
We genuinely see it all the time, all the things that they do. However, they're not in charge of our government.
Yeah.
So this would be like them giving you a compare, as
Yes.
though the Father's house was legitimately like, if you and I got a speeding ticket, like, hey, so you got to go down to the
Yeah.
Father's house and you got to go talk to the pastor about
Absolutely.
it. You're like, holy shit.
It's just the next line.
It's problematic.
Because churches, I would say churches in America, like in Vacaville, they do have authority in that they can either officially or unofficially like lobby. Like they have a lever of power, but it is not an official branch mechanism.
Different.
It's positional authority.
It's different.
Influence authority. Okay.
It's not government though, right?
Yes.
And then the army would obviously be our police department, so they also would have like a
Mhm.
legitimate say in our government, and then our mayor or whatever is our king. Okay, so that was the way I was breaking it. Honestly, as far as like state level, the best way that Utah would be pretty close.
I was thinking there are some places
Utah would be
in
pretty
America
close.
that have more explicit religious control of the cities
Yes,
and
yes.
states.
And Utah, unfortunately, would be one of them. Okay. Now, when religion justifies state power, the backlash is going to become existential, dude. And
Mhm.
that backlash shows up in revolutionary violence. Now, before I get to that, because that's hard for people to grasp, that's like a group of people, I can talk on like an individual level. For instance, I was forced to go to church growing up. Okay. Like, spoiler alert, there's a lot of resentment there.
Right.
If you look at even my family name, okay, my family comes from the area of Germany called Koblenz, and this is from an area of deep religious oppression, meaning whoever came through there in waves in that part of Germany,
Mhm.
you were just whatever religion they were oppressing you at the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
So my family chose, instead of using like names, we used occupational last names.
Yeah.
So that we could be somewhat like, when other people came, we're just these people, dude. There's no secessions. Don't worry about it. We just work here, bro.
In high school, I remember that lesson in history class. Like, yeah, a lot of people in Europe and Germany were just named after the professionals. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I got a pass to go to the office, and I had to go talk to Miss Shoemaker. And I was like, I see it now. Shout out to Mrs. Shoemaker. Worked at the office.
Yeah, sometimes you as a family would like to make that gamble and be like, maybe I don't want to be oppressed by other religious people coming through here, so
Right.
I will just change my last name to an occupational thing.
Germany had some violent swings.
Oh my god.
So interesting.
Yes, specifically in like medieval times, which
Yes.
is kind of what I'm referring to as far as religious
Well, and
oppressions.
you know, I just think one thing for us to keep in mind is that the church being an integral part of it and giving the existential element is the standard for almost all of human history until very recently.
What do you mean?
Like, I was just listening to Tom Holland go over some Roman stuff on the rest of history, and they were talking about the legal codes and how the legal codes of Rome, why they cared about it, because they're breaching their contract with Carthage, if you don't know, for one of the Punic Wars to go murder and commit genocide, as the Romans do. And what they were afraid of breaching the contract. And the reason they're afraid of breaching the contract is because they didn't want the gods to get mad, because the gods are tied into their legal system. Like, that's who
There you
they
go.
give an oath to, because who else binds an oath but a deity when you don't have overarching mechanisms and technology to, counteract that? Isn't that crazy? Like, of course that it would be the gods, because who else can it be? Or else our words don't mean anything, right? Like, you have to have something to hold us to a higher power. Whereas, luckily, we've separated slightly from that.
Damn. So, perfect. Can you get me to my next slide,
Yes.
please? So,
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Dude, this is legit. So, listeners, he's looking at imagery that I typed in based on my readings, but 7,000 clergymen were straight up murdered in Spain.
This is early 1900s?
Dude, this is 1930s, like
Okay, so
1933.
after World War One.
Like pre-World War II. Pre-World War II.
Yeah.
7,000 clergymen were straight up murdered in Spain. Okay?
The whole world is hitting that depression right now.
So this is legit anarchism. And if we like to break down etymologies of words here. So if in the honor of monarchy, if you think of monarchy, the antithesis of a monarch would be an anarchism, right? And like I just said, when you force these religious, it doesn't even have to be religious, but when you force ideas on people, they are going to fight back. Well, these people did. And it's not like the anarchy that we think of here in the United States of like your Ronald Reagan punk era.
Yeah,
dudes.
the anarchist cookbook.
Yeah, no, it's not
putting
that.
railroad spikes in the trees.
No, this is people pissed off at the church because this is a governing force over them.
Yeah.
And
yeah, my code of conduct is by a religion that I don't follow.
Yes. And so this is what happens is you have these clergymen getting murdered. They would hang nuns in the streets. There is visions of them burning babies and throwing babies through the streets, like straight carnage. Now
I'm gonna say leave the nuns alone,
dude,
and babies alone.
Crazy, but they're
feeling real mad.
Overarching thing that this ends up doing you have to remember the church is the government.
Sure.
So now the church is against this group of anarchists, which are like, these are legit group of people, these anarchists.
Yeah, these like guerrilla warfare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
These anarcho syndicates that they call them, like it's crazy. So you now have an entire group of government that is like, okay, cool. So these people are murdering us. So we're going to be against you. So that's just something that you're going to want to think of as we go through this. Yeah, but we will also understand that the atrocities are going to come from both sides. But super important for us to understand that churches were straight up burning. It was a very metal scene in Spain. Very, very metal. So let's talk about what makes fascism now that we know what anarchy is. Go ahead and click me on over to the next slide. So
Fascismo?
Fascismo. This is my fascist cookbook, dude. So we're going to talk about these I'm calling these ingredients.
Okay.
Okay. I had more, but I narrowed it down to these. And let's kind of go through them a little bit here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what you're going to do, and you're allowed to do this, is you can kind of compare this to what's going on in our world,
Absolutely.
our country. There's not just our country that does this. You're not somehow... You don't have to have just Western ideals to have this relate to you. You can also be, for instance, Iran and be a fascist country.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
And I mean, for the record, I took a deep dive for myself because everyone always says, we are fascists and stuff, or returning fascists. And I went through a book and then I went through my own thoughts on it. And I don't believe we are turning fascists.
So, we're going to get there at the end, but I believe that there are two fail-safes that we legitimately have in our Constitution that helps us not become fascists.
Yeah, I was like,
we're gonna go over that.
I think that it was actually harmful when we overgeneralize because of what fascism is. Because fascism requires a couple elements. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you
Dude,
off
this
there.
is the whole point of this episode.
Yeah, this is good.
So I'm glad that you have that idea, but I kind of... As I was listening to human beings in the United States be like, we're fascist, I was like, I don't know if you know what that is.
All right. Or what I thought was, I don't know if I know what that is. That's what I was really thinking. I was like, I could say the word too, but I'm not sure I actually know what separates fascism from just a straight dictatorship. That was where I was going to, like a military dictatorship versus fascism are different. And that's what I kind of wanted to get at.
I feel like having being a dictator would be part of the ingredients of fascism.
It is. That's where I started coming to. So you need a dictator in fascism, but
it doesn't necessarily mean it's all fascism.
Right.
I hate to say that, but that is unfortunately the truth of the matter.
Good. It's good to separate things into what they really are.
So the first thing we got is legitimacy crisis. People stop believing normal politics and can solve pain and humiliation and all that. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, this one's kind of a. I was thinking about this today as I was mowing the lawn. This is mowing lawn thoughts, but I was like,
thoughts.
this is one of the most easiest things to relate to as an American because, well, at least millennials, I can only speak for our generation, but I feel like we've been hollering for the longest time that the two-party system is broken.
Yeah.
That's a legitimacy crisis.
Do you know who actually did this in America? Was the evangelicals.
Ooh.
Because they gave up the moral high ground for Donald. They conceded for Donald Trump. And it could be because they couldn't see a way to retain their values under their normal stipulations. So they felt they had to. They had no choice. They were in a legitimate crisis to circumvent their values for somebody lesser than.
There you go. And
That's
it was
crazy to me.
Well, the value was pro-life. That's what they had it all hinged on.
Yeah, they're conservative ideologies.
That.
Yeah. That's crazy, though.
It is crazy. So rebirth myth plus enemies. There's very real people versus traitors, subversive parasites, othering.
Xenia turns into xenophobia.
So do you want to break that down or?
So yeah, the Xenia is what we were covering the Odyssey. So the Odyssey is all about
Shout out to our Odyssey series.
How to treat one another, and then Xeno is meaning like other people, people that aren't your people, and so xenophobia is the fascist freaking tool that they learned how to really use to leverage power in a global economy. And so then it's a process of othering where you say, it's not your fault, it's all of their fault. And then literally, you don't have to switch up anything else. You don't have to actually define pronouns on that half the time. And it works really, really well.
So that's a perfect description of that. But I mean, I don't want to be, is it obvious how obvious it is? The whole Make America Great Again thing? Like the rebirth myth? Like, oh, we need to rebuild ourselves.
Oh, it's definitely within the ethos of Donald Trump, I would say. From his own perspective, because a lot of conservatives, because I'm on the conservative subreddits all the time trying to figure out because I want to see what they are actually typing to see if I agree with any of it. And I think they definitely were voting for him because they wanted to become an isolationist again. They wanted America pre-World War II, not the global police force, which is, as millennials, we have a bad taste in our mouth over the whole global interventionism.
Of course. Of course.
That would make sense that we would
lean that way.
Of
course.
Now.
Anti-pluralism, which, I was going to pull up the picture, but whatever. This is when the opposition isn't wrong, it's illegitimate. Have you seen any of the interesting White House propaganda that they put on their Twitter or whatever?
The workout video?
Well, so that one is... oh my gosh, dude. That one made me... I was like, well, this is not for me. This is clearly... I am not who they're marketing for. But I'm talking about the anti-pluralism where they have literally... It'll show an eagle and it says America, one nation, one people.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, interesting. Like that's like an anti-pluralism idea. Now I get it. I understand the spirit of what they're trying to say.
Sure.
But that is also like anti-pluralism is the best way I can honestly put that.
Yeah.
You are wanting to have just certain people within your boundaries.
Yes. It comes from history, right? Like everybody has like a mother city that they hail from, right? I'll just like the Carthage War. Like they were supposed to just leave Carthage, but that's their home. That's who they are. They are, they're from Carthage, and I just find it interesting. But I don't know. It's bad. It's really bad. It's such a bad fucking tool to use.
It's not good, dude. I'm just saying, like we I don't know. If diversity is good in the gut, I think diversity is good in the ocean. Diversity is good amongst human beings. They've even shown in education that when there's more people around you of different ethnicities, colors, ideas, opinions, that it's good for you.
Sure.
It's good for learning. It's good for your psyche. All the above. The next one is a leader as a nation. Leader as nation. The leader is above the rules. Laws become more of a loyalty thing. this one shouldn't be really hard for us as Americans to know. Like, dude, the fact that we have folks that put an entire flag of Homeboy's name under the American flag is, I'm not saying fascist, but it is of note.
How many garages have a poster of Donald Trump with a bleeding ear with a fist in his ear? It's more than 2 on my route.
Dude, hey, listen, I said this the day that dude got shot when we had our episode on that if the leader of North Korea got shot in the ear and then stood up and was like, ah, bah, 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 we'd all be like, that's fucking dope.
It's really
That's
good.
fucking cool. But that he is still literally like a god in their eyes and can do no wrong. And, it's important to know. This is why me and Kevin are big fans of Dune. Because
Dune's the best. But also, Legends of the Galactic Heroes. I'm singing the praise. We're moving away from last podcast now. Legend of Galactic Heroes. Sorry, do your Dune.
What are you talking about?
No,
What
no.
is this?
The book that I've been reading.
I don't know anything about this.
So it's space opera. It's space opera nonsense, but it's really fucking good. And the leader or the admiral that you follow, Yang Wing Lang, he's dope. Yang Wing Li, and whenever they have to stand up, he's an admiral, and whenever they stand up in front of like their whole world to salute, he just sits there.
Yeah.
He's like, nations aren't forever. That's what he says all the time, and they fucking hate him for it. And he's like, listen, I don't follow any nation blindly. This nation will go away one day. Why would I care about one nation?
based.
I was like, this guy's in Japan writing in the 80s. He was probably terrified he was going to get murdered writing this out. I love it.
All right, I haven't read those yet, so you need to obviously send me
Yes.
the names of those, and I'll start reading those.
Sorry,
But
let's
I'm
do a
gonna
Dune
use
one.
Dune as
love
an
Dune.
example, and specifically Frank Herbert, the dude
Yes.
who wrote it. So he used to joke. He used to
It was not a
chide.
joke. It's not a joke.
Hold on. he used to chide that homeboy. God damn it! What was? Oh, Richard Nixon was.
It's
his
not a
favorite-
joke. He's deadly serious.
He was like, that's my favorite president.
This is
That's what
my
he says.
favorite
It's my
president.
favorite because it reminded him of how human beings should not have that much power.
He
That
said
was
it was
his
the
thing.
greatest thing that happened to Americans was the Watergate scandal because all of
Okay.
a sudden America could learn that they shouldn't blindly trust their leaders.
Okay, so
and that
that's
is a based ass sentence, to
bro.
say.
That's what I want the people as the leaders of the nation to understand is like if y'all, even the people who are like religious and get down on biblical philosophy, like stop worshiping leaders.
I feel like I
Don't
read
do
the
it.
Bible wrong because when I read it, I'm like, it sounds like humans are pretty flawed. And that's what my takeaway is. And then when people blindly follow evangelical leaders, I'm like, did we read the right Sermon on the Mount? Like, I just thought it was different.
preaching to the fellow battle buddy friend. I don't know what to tell you there.
But I also feel like, it goes both ways because I've talked about it a couple times, but I had a big moment after, we got some time away from Obama's time in presidency where I was all for it. I was like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. And then I started like actually doing some accounting and figuring out like, he still killed babies. Like that, like my name is a part of that because I am American and it was an American action. And like, I have blood on my hands because of that.
Accountability from a person who voted.
Yeah.
Look at you go. Look, I love you, Kevin. For real. I wish more humans were like you. Permanent emergency. Crisis is constant. This one, this one's legit. Because you all, honestly, for
Yeah.
fascism, you do need to take advantage of an emergency.
It's really fucking smart.
Like you do need an emergency.
It's
And for Spain, as I was just explaining, fucking 7,000 clergymen
Yeah.
died. They were popping them in the heads. They were burning them. That's bad.
It is
That's
bad.
bad, regardless of the insane fucking atrocities the Catholic fucking Church has pulled off.
Well, and here's the thing. Artificially or manufacturing a crisis or emergencies is not at its base an evil thing. I think.
Manufacturing emergencies?
Like, okay, the Super Bowl. People got really heated about it every year. It actually doesn't fucking matter. But it's fun and it gets people to work hard and it gets the economy moving. So I think by its nature, it is a neutral element.
Hmm.
And sometimes having somebody go against your nation can help your nation come
Hmm.
together.
Hmm.
And whether that was artificially manufactured or legitimate, that is still a net positive for that community in that time because suddenly they don't feel so alone. and they know their enemy. That's so much better than like, are we the baddies
Dang.
here? Right.
So that is kind of another thing that I like about, I don't know. It's not that I like. It's just another thing about groupthink is like sometimes everyone can agree on a disagreement.
Absolutely.
That's like a huge thing,
Yeah.
right? Is shared hatred. Violence becomes normalized. Intimidation, militia logic becomes necessary, which in the context of Spain, which is sort of our case study here, yeah, dude. Like I said, anarchy. There's literally an entire political group of anarchists running around straight killing folks to try and save their republic in their mind. Propaganda replaces truth. Man, I've been super into. I went down a long rabbit hole of reading and looking at old propaganda advertisements in pre-World War II and World War II, and propaganda is so interesting because it really does, like it's saying here, they really appeal to your loyalty. It was a fascinating thing.
If you have the exuberant nationalism element, letter C, then you can have G, because G works only if C is in place. And you see how these things become interconnected off each other, which is why Yang Wei Li is my freaking GOAT protagonist right now, because that's his whole thing is just eliminate the nationalism part and then you're all good.
Yeah, the nationalism part is
the extreme nationalism. I tell my students, I do think nationalism has functional elements.
Of course,
we're gonna really like.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
I make a whole point of that, but the press becomes the enemy with this propaganda thing, which is really interesting right now in our time to think about that.
It's on both sides.
The press becoming the enemy, because press is just different right now since everyone is kind of press, since we all have cell phones.
Dude, the internet's so weird.
But I mean, already, like, my father-in-law texted me on the way here and he's like, I think I've watched 5 fake videos of Iran being bombed just now.
I was seriously like, which one of these ones are real?
Yeah. But that's this is the same vein.
It is.
This is the same vein of back in the day when people would read bullshit news. They'd be like, bro, this is not legit. And you know what? It turns out that's like extremely Orwellian.
Yeah.
Orwell hated the press, bro. Hated the press. Hemingway was the press.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have elite deals. This is essentially, I mean, you could call this capitalism, but that would hurt people's feelings. So we're calling it elite deals. This is business, church, and military all use the movement, that permanent emergency that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Emergency creates movements, dude.
It does. Things suddenly have to happen.
Yeah, we see it happen all the time within our own communities on a national scale. It happens all the time. And so now I kind of want us to talk about Spain's different factions here. All right, we got our little punk show here of the Republicans versus the Nationalists. Okay, like I said earlier, when we as Americans hear Republicans, we think right, we think conservative. This is not that.
Sure.
This is more like, think of them
early
like
Republicans.
They're like trying to actually save the Republic of Spain. Think of it that way. These are your traditionalists of like trying to maintain like people. They want a democracy.
Yeah.
They want the human beings to run the country. They don't want, the right, the nationalists. Now the nationalists are your fascists. These are your ones that are your monarch, your army, your church. Those are all your nationalists.
Oligarchy kind of vibe, but not, right? I guess it is still more fascist.
I wouldn't say oligarchy, because the church has so much influence that like rich people don't mean anything. Business doesn't mean anything like that. When you have the church in charge of so much and the army in charge of so much, that an oligarchy isn't necessarily existing. And we will kind of go into that when corporations get involved with the war that happens here.
Interesting.
Yeah. So go ahead and get to we're going to go over the nationalists first. So who's in charge of the nationalists? We got Franco here. Francisco Franco. Okay. Now, George Orwell wrote Homage to Catalonia, dude. And he started it off by saying, I'm really going to try to keep politics out of this as much as possible. And he did a good job and still was able to explain all the different factions.
Okay.
And so, in light of George Orwell being able to stay away from politics as much as possible, the way I'm going to do that today is I'm going to relate all of these to different musical artists
Good.
and subgenres of basically rock.
Yes.
Okay. So, Francisco Franco, your boy, is a general. Okay. Now, in Spain,
Pretty weak mustache.
Bro, he's a very small weasel. Like, me. He's got like a
He
high
does one
pitched,
of
but he's a
those.
weasel, bro. He is a weasel. And he started off in like ROTC and was really good at essentially deep throating his bosses. Like he was really good
Oh,
at
good.
following orders.
Oh, good.
So he played the military game really well and was able to rise up that way.
Oh, I could just imagine him on campus wearing his little uniform.
It's important to know here. This is like one of the most important aspects to know here about the Spanish Civil War. Coup d'etats.
Yeah.
Okay, military coups. Prior to Francisco like officially becoming, the elected general, or not even elected, excuse me, it was a coup. There was 137 coups prior to him successfully doing it. So 137 coups. That means 137 other generals tried to become the general. This is another example of history trying to explain to mankind that a military force should not be in charge of the government.
Right. Shout out to our Marine. Who's our Marine that stops the coup in America?
Smedley Butler.
Smedley
bro.
Butler.
Smedley Butler. And we're going to also bring him up at some point today, too.
What a dope guy. For that. I don't know how he is the rest of his life, but good
So,
move.
Francisco Franco is our dictator, leader, general of Spain. Okay? When all of these clergy are getting burned. And he's fucking Morgan Wallen, bro. And for all of you out there who are upset about me using Morgan Wallen as an example of a fascist dictator, listen, I used to like Morgan Wallen. And just like Francisco Franco, he didn't start off bad, dude. He used to be a militarily sound general and things were chilling, just like Morgan Wallen's first album. Now, Kevin, there are two types of people in this world. There are people that say pizza, right? And then there are people that say pizza, right? Now,
Who says pizza?
Morgan Wallen. So, for instance, when you're listening to a rap song and the word comes up, right? The pizza word. And you're like, pizza.
Yeah. Sorry. I
Right.
understand what you're saying.
Obviously, some white guys out there after 2 beers, you might say the word pizza when you're alone in your room after 2 beers. And I'm imagining society can forgive you for that. But there are some people out there, some white boys that say pizza, right?
Sure.
And Morgan Wallen was one of those people, right?
I just listened to an Instagram reel, and this is a black guy in bed. He's like, top 10 people I don't invite to the cookout. White dudes who say the ER
That's what I'm saying.
when they're in the room by themselves.
So that video
love that
went
too.
around, and normally people would respond by being like, "Oh man, that sucks. That dude's kind of a douche. Maybe let's let him just slowly wander into obscurity." But he got more popular after that.
Good.
And
I'm sorry, I don't know who this guy is.
Morgan Wallen,
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay.
Nobody knows who Francisco Franco is either. Just so we're clear.
I've never heard of Franco.
Morgan Wallen is a country singer, a very famous country singer. Are you looking him up?
I'm
right
looking
now?
up to see if I know any songs.
That's dope. This is kind of proving my point even more, though.
Okay.
That's okay. He's a stadium country singer, bro. He panders.
God, I
And
probably have heard his songs.
All
on
of
the
his
radio.
recent music all sounds the same, and it's not that good. And again, for all of you who are upset about me saying that, I like his old stuff. His old stuff is fine. A little dust in my boots or whatever the hell. I don't know. I don't mind it. All right. So that's who we got for Francisco Franco, dude. He doesn't say pizza. He says pizza, and then gets more famous because of it.
Really proud of us.
All right. Next. All right. So these are your phalangists, bro. As you can see, they're doing these cool little salutes over there. These are your legit fascists.
I'm
These
going to
are-
say I don't think these are cool salutes.
These are, yeah. These are your proud boys, bro. These are your boys that are like, oh man, I will do anything for Francisco Franco. I'll do anything for him.
Yeah.
I'm a
tiki
yes
torch.
man.
Yeah.
So he's a Lee Greenwood. Lee Greenwood is the dude. Proud to be an American,
Okay, yeah.
where at least I know I'm free. Now listen, the reason that is because Lee Greenwood is making a shit ton of money on like literally capitalizing on everyone having boners for America. Now I'm not talking shit, dude. I was literally after I like did the fucking Crucible for the Marine Corps or whatever, and they handed me my Eagle Glove and Anchor. They played that fucking corny ass song, and I cried.
Sure.
Right? It's all part of the indoctrination. It's all part of that shit. I'm not talking shit, but we do have to say what it is, and he is like a person making money on nationalism.
Nationalism,
essentially.
yeah.
And that's what phalangists are. They're your fascists. They are the ones who are loyal to the soil, bro.
Capitalism with nationalism is just the weirdest American thing. Like the whole idea for the Pledge of Allegiance is just from a guy who wanted to sell more flags.
Yeah, dude.
And so like that's why we do it in the classroom.
Yeah.
Like that rubs me really wrong.
Trust me, dude. Every day I do it, I'm like, I guess. I guess. All right. Let's go to the. Oh yeah, dude. Then you got your Carlists and your monarchists. Okay, these are your people who are loyal to the government of the church. And do you think that burning and killing a bunch of clergymen helped the church or made it worse for them? Like as far as their ideology goes, as far as their mythology goes, their epicness goes, all those clergymen now become martyrs and make it makes the Catholic Church the identity stronger.
Listen, in all my map games that I play, you never kill the politician.
No.
You just put him in jail.
Yeah, dude.
Let him rot.
Don't ever kill him because he becomes
He becomes a
something.
martyr. Then you got to
entirely
deal with your
different.
happiness crisis. And God damn it. And then like, do you crack down that?
So this is Forrest Frank. Do you know Forrest Frank?
I don't know Forrest Frank, but I've got to say I do like that album cover. I like a Roland piano. The Juno 8 is like a classic. There's some good classic sounds that come out of that thing, first of all, which is very nice.
Oh, legitimately that one specifically?
Yeah, that's a very famous one. So he put it in there, or his art person did. That's a good call. People like me going through like, okay, what's up?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen other artists using that one, but he is a Christian singer, stadium Christian singer. Again, he's also extremely talented, makes good music. I literally use some of his songs for my PE classes.
Mm-hmm.
However, they all are talking about Jesus.
Sure.
So you are capitalizing on Jesus, just so we're clear.
I do
you're
like-
making money off that.
I like a Jesus song, especially when they scream after.
Oh, bro, don't even get me started. I listen to so much Christian music, it's not even funny. However, you are still making fucking money off of Christian music, just the like ideas of Christianity.
That's complicated, huh?
Do you understand what I'm saying? though?
Absolutely.
Like, bro, like let's be real. Like that's your job is to pander, essentially.
So, sorry, this is gonna be off topic, but I've been thinking about this a lot. Do youth group guys, like the guy who shouldn't be hanging out with people that young, does he make money doing that, or does he?
So I actually know for a fact he does.
Okay, that I would say they would
I have
have
a coworker
to, right?
who is a youth pastor, and
Because they gotta
is
pay a bill
on the payroll.
Because a lot of times they're just out of high school.
Dude, and I heard something that made me so sad.
I've heard some things that would make you cry.
This person said to me when I asked this person how they enjoy doing the youth pastoral things, they said that it's really cool because they can relate more to the high schoolers than most of the adults.
This is really good.
This is a mid 20-year-old person that I'm speaking about, just so we're all clear. So,
Yep.
the Carlists and the monarchists, bro.
Okay.
Go ahead and go to the next slide. So now we're getting to our other side of the coin, okay? So these are now the Republicans. These are people fighting for the Republic, okay? And I have our first, just Republicans. I'm gonna call it Green Day, and here's a simple kind of why for that. Not a long time ago, within the last 10 years, I asked my buddy who makes music for a living. I was like, why is pop punk not really popular right now? Like, why is it in a low point? Which right now it is.
It is.
And he said, because if you don't have like a huge band that is popular, they don't have something to kind of like ride off the coattails of that.
Yeah.
So, for instance, in pop punk, if you if Green Day and Blink-182 aren't doing really well, then like you aren't going to be doing really well. That's essentially like the vibe that he was talking about. So that's why I'm using Green Day. Like, you are still punk rock and you're still rock and roll. However, you opened for the Super Bowl.
I would say Green Day, to me, I've been thinking about them as just because Blink-182 is not the biggest contradiction because they are so confused in their lyrics. Like the whole time they're like, life is super weird, guys.
Yeah.
And so that makes sense that they could become popular because that doesn't clash with their ideology. Their ideology is like, I wish my parents didn't fight so much growing up. You know, like that. Whereas like Green Day's like,
bro, they literally made a Democratic album called American Idiot.
Yeah, but even
like, the Secretary of California has the floor. That's a line in one of their songs.
But that album is a contradiction because of the amount of capitalism and like liquid cash that got thrown into it to create such an album.
But that's the point I'm kind of trying to make. Okay. That's why the Republicans are Green Day. So it's like you're fighting for the Republic. You are the guys of the Republic, but you're still like, you're big time still. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're going. Does that make sense? All right, go to the next one. We got our socialists, bro. Turns out Russia really gets heavily involved. Russia is helping out and trying to help the Republic of Spain. Russians are anti-fascist, it turns out, at this time.
They are. They're super anti-fascist.
They're anti-fascist. And so I used the Wonder Years as an example for this because
you love the Wonder Years.
I do love the Wonder Years. They are also like, they do have to tour to get money. Like
sure.
they can't. They're not like Green Day. If they're like, hey, so in a couple years we're gonna have to do another stadium tour to like kind of stay afloat. If you guys want to keep your mansions. Whereas the Wonder Years is like, we will have to tour if our numbers stay the same, we will have to tour for the rest of our life.
Yeah. They're the Deer Hunter.
You know what
Making
I'm saying?
Another concept album. Like,
and so like for real, they're like the working party. One of the main reasons I fucking love this band is because their work ethic is insane. Yeah. They are constantly talking about the sacrifices they made on the road in their songs.
Do they work harder than Bruce Springsteen?
Whew.
That's the hardest working dude.
I don't know if anyone works harder than Bruce Springsteen.
I don't know if anyone works harder than Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy to think about? Like, still.
He's just trying to impress his dead father, though, still.
Yeah, that's a powerful motivator.
I know.
Welcome to Spencer's life.
One day, Dad. All right,
he's proud of you.
Next one.
Wait, I have a joke. Spencer wanted to use Fugazi for this one, but Fugazi, being true anti-fascists and anti-capitalists, had to, of course, dissolve their band before they become too popular.
Yeah, in true hipster format.
True punk format. I guess it is hipster too. That's when punk and hipster used to be like way more touchy.
Yeah,
like, what's that movie Ghost World? You ever watch Ghost World?
No.
Okay, Ghost World is like a cool. That's like the hipster art punk world's touching, and it's
what year are we talking here?
Like early 2000s ish.
Word. I'll check it out.
Scarlett Jo's in it, and she's
Let's go.
16. It's like crazy, and there's some great lines in it where they go, "Hey, did you hear?" She's like, "What? Punk's dead." It's a sick line. It's really cool. you have like a record shop guy who's like, "You're not even fighting the system. You're just dressing like a punk. That's why I'm going back to law school." Like, this is sick.
Oh,
like,
nice.
This is really cool.
So, speaking of punk rock, the next people we have in the Republic, under the Republic, is the communists. Now, I am relating the communists to like the DIY scene of the DIY hardcore scene of rock. And so for what I have to the right picture here is a place called 924 Gilman. This little slice of heaven is in Berkeley, California, and it's literally just the name. The name is the address, 924 Gilman. And it is completely ran by volunteers. Every time that you go there, you have to buy what they call a membership. It's like one of the ways that they're able to stay open. People have to buy memberships, and that's like your entry. The bathroom doors are completely ripped off, so if you need to take a shit, like everyone will watch you.
Yeah.
It says no stage diving, but this is literally the place where I've seen the most stage diving. The last time I was there with my wife, there was a huge sign that said "Hail Satan" and then "Free Palestine" under it. It's a fucking incredible place, dude. That's honestly, it's only open because of people love music.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason it's open. It's 100% a commune for that type of ideology through and through. And I'm super proud to have said that I've like been there But that's genuinely like the vibe of like the communists is like, we share everything. And on a small scale, that's the way it looks.
There's some, I was thinking of Chain Reaction.
Oh, yeah. Dude, rest in peace.
They just
Rest
shut
in
down,
peace.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were similar, so a lot of...
Totally. Did you get to make it there?
Yeah.
Oh, you bastard.
Because we lived in Long Beach, we'd drive there sometimes.
I bet.
And then the Troubadour, too.
Troubadour's dope. I've been to the Troubadour.
And that one is more high class, but still is just kind of one of those cool places. It wasn't very big, a lot of fun, pretty cheap. Saw Portugal the Man before they blew up there. That was really fun.
It's a sick flex.
Yeah.
And that's why going and watching openers is dope, because you never know who's going to blow up. Go ahead and click me over to the next one. So now we have the anarchists, okay? And these are your folks who were burning down churches. I don't know if you've heard, I couldn't even fucking find a picture of it, which is why I had to do this, but some bands are literally doing backyard shows now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All American Rejects.
So All American Rejects was doing it. Also, so if you go to stadium shows, and I've seen this on videos on the interwebs, but bands will buy a U-Haul and they will go to stadium shows and they will play shows in the parking lot in their U-Haul.
That's sick.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yes. Which, listen, think about this for 2 seconds. You lost money.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
rented a U-Haul. This was all literally just so you could play music in front of live people. On the way out, everyone gets stuck in line and they have to get out, like at the Oakland Coliseum when I go. And they'll just pull up to a line of cars and they'll just jam out.
Mm-hmm.
Super anarchists. Like, you guys are using the curtails of this like huge machine of this stadium, and you guys are just playing free music for people waiting. So super dope. Go ahead and click me over.
I don't think I've ever really been paid for playing shows. I played a lot of shows,
I believe you,
but I think most I got paid was like a beer.
dude. The music industry is odd.
I did open for Amigo the Devil once, though. That was cool.
I don't even know who that is, bro.
He kind of blew up for a little bit.
And lastly, we got the Poom.
The Poom.
The Poom. These are like a lot of your international volunteers. Okay.
Okay.
So George Orwell, when he came over and he volunteered, he was under the Poom. And they're also specifically anti-Russian.
Okay.
And so they're working with the Russians, but they're anti-Russian.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, all of the people who volunteered from around the world that come over and be a part of the Poom.
It's a rough sounding name.
I know. Nobody really trusted them.
Sure.
Which is why I'm using Sleep Token here.
Yeah.
But it's any masked band, dude.
Yeah.
Think of your Slipknots. Think of your Sleep Token. Think of your Gwar.
Yeah.
Think of all those bands, because you do have to kind of be a type of human being to be into those like masked bands. Like, you know what I mean?
Although I feel like War are a bunch of teddy bears.
Oh, dude, they're also very well read. They're
That's
a
what I
really
mean.
cool band. I got
that
to
one.
see
That one's
them.
a hard one to throw out because all the evidence points to them being essentially the band Rush, but with masks on.
I saw them shortly after I turned 21 with one of my sergeants, Sergeant Copy. He was like, "Schultz, do you want to go see Gwar with me?" Nobody wants to go. So we went, and he dropped me back off. We go through this military gate with blood and semen all over us. The Marines were just like, "You guys okay?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're okay." Like, go ahead. Didn't question the blood and semen. So yeah, the Poom, we're going to learn eventually as I kind of break down the timeline of the Spanish Civil War. The sadness is just when you have so many different factions that I just went over under one umbrella, there's too much different ideologies battling against each other and then infighting, and it starts to splinter.
That makes sense.
You know what I
That's the
mean?
problem with all liberal movements as well, like all punk movements or freaking anarchist
That's what I'm saying.
movements. And I love them all, and I love all the like beliefs and the energy, and I just get so sad because unless you're Fugazi and break up, it's gonna end badly.
So if people who don't understand
Fuck
what
you if you don't understand.
if you don't understand, like, go ahead and go to the next slide. If you're like, I don't understand like why the subgenres is a good example, I bring you to the Seosin debate, bro.
Okay,
Okay?
it's not even a debate, but
But that's what I'm saying.
yeah, it's good, perfect.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and I listened to this band called Seosin. However, we listen to it completely differently because I listened to Seosin with the lead singer named Cove Reber.
Did not know that was his name.
And, and Kevin listens to only the albums with Anthony Green.
Oh no, I listened to 5 songs.
Okay, so
yeah, 'cause I listened to the EP.
they're even more niche.
Yeah.
Even more niche. He only listens to 5 songs by Seosin with Anthony Green.
You told me about the other album today. I
Okay.
listened to it.
How'd that go for you?
It's all right.
And so why do you like the other?
Translating the name?
Yeah.
Okay, the EP. Well, can I get nostalgic for a second?
Dude, I lay it on as thick as you possibly can.
Okay.
I need ideology here.
Yeah, no, because it is ideology. So it's junior year, maybe senior year. Okay. Trying to experiment with music.
Yeah.
Asking people for burned CDs.
Wearing girls' pants.
Not wearing girls' pants yet. Still listening to nothing but Straight Light Manifesto. Seen Straight Light Manifesto many times at this point. Still 30, almost 36, and Straight Light Manifesto is still the greatest band in the world. But that's neither here nor there. Seosin is gonna give it a run for its money. And I'm trying to branch out. Somebody shows me Dead Poetic. I don't know if you remember Dead Poetic.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So I was like, this is all right. And then someone hands me a mix CD, and if you remember the 07, 06, 08 drama, it's when somebody doesn't burn the CD correctly, so you don't get all the information on it when you put it on the iTunes. And this is one of those cases. So I knew it was Seosin, but I didn't know what any of the tracks' names were. I didn't know if it was all the same band. And just completely captivated from the very second, because that one starts off with their banger, 7 Years. And I've never heard someone play drums like that.
Dude,
never
the
heard,
drummer's insane.
he goes hard that whole song. That whole song is nonstop. And it's kind of also my first real dive into more independent music. And I've been thinking about independent music and professional music a lot, because I listened to today with my boys while we were drawing and playing. We listened to Pet Sounds on vinyl from the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Because it's like the greatest recorded album of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And I get sad when I listen to it sometimes, because we will never have another Pet Sounds purely because of the cost. Because of all the equipment that they use, all the tape, all the microphones and the big ass microphones and the studio time, you don't need to do anymore. So nobody can justify the budget for that. And I was sad, but I was also thinking about getting into independent music and getting into translating the name and loving the gritty sound of the drums that are clearly, they only have a couple mics on that drum set, but he's hitting every fucking piece of that drum set.
Yeah.
And so when you hear it, you have to really strain to hear the different hits he's doing, and you're like, this is so cool. There's so much reverb that they can't get out because they only have probably like 3 or 4 mics on it. Whereas if you listen to the new one of Anthony Green, it's mic'd up. It has like the 9 or 12 mics, and you can hear every little tom. And he's an incredible drummer. But that sound, that like one unified sound going through is incredible. So, hanging out with my friends, driving in my car, my shitty ass car that would turn off as I turn left half the time. And so, but that song went, like the CD went in, so the CD just like lived there. What I really like about it, like I said, the recording, I think the lyrics are just so raw. Anthony Green is a narrative storyteller, but he focuses, I think, he's at his best when he's doing like abstract narratives. So it's clearly a narrative, but there's not a clear line. It's more about the feelings he's feeling as he's going through a story. And I just like captivates me endlessly. Their guitarist is pretty fucking crazy in that he hits these harmonics sometimes. You're like, this is nuts. Yeah, that album has had a stranglehold on me all the time. I play that album quite a bit still.
Yeah. So it's
My
a part of you.
students know it.
It's
Yeah.
a part of you. And so I listen to the same band, but a different singer. And every time I hear Anthony Green singing the Seo song, I'm like, this dude sounds like a whiny bitch to me. I can't stand it.
Whoa.
I know. Dude, the
You're
first
like,
time that Kevin...
we get it. You like vowels.
when Kevin and I first had this conversation years ago, I was like, I told him that I liked the other singer of Seosin better, and I saw that Kevin got really uncomfortable. I was like, "Are you okay?" He was like, "Actually, it's making me really angry." So this is why I wanted to use this as an example, because it's under the umbrella of Seosin, 2 different singers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very much of like what I'm trying to say with how people can just have completely different ideas about the same thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because Cove Reber, I remember I got that album, the self-titled album with the Beatle on it, and same kind of time frame. 16 years
Yeah.
old. The lyrics about you're not alone. There's more to life than this, you know.
Different voices.
I love that fucking
It's a
song.
really good song.
So that's just kind of a really stupid Battle Buddies Spencer version of talking about.
I really like that though.
Ideologies.
There's a lot to it because Anthony Green, their whole falling out was because he didn't want to do the more technical route of post-hardcore stuff. And if you listen to further on Seosin, like when they got their new singer, highly technical band, much more, and he's a much more technically proficient singer, I think. At least in the studio. Anthony Green knows what he's doing, but when you hear the album, it's like clear that they wanted to dial in everything just so more like metal almost in that way, and it works really well. But it's not. I like the rawness.
Yeah, and Anthony Green is an experience, dude. I mean, when we went to go see The Sound of Animals Fighting, it's an experience.
Dude, Anthony Green
it's very
almost
theatric
whacked
experience.
Spencer with a light bulb.
Yeah.
And if you've never been to art music before, an experimental music concert, that doesn't make sense to you. But he was swinging light bulb around, and he had to give Spencer the eye to duck because Spencer was too tall to be as forward as he was.
Coming your way, buddy. It comes way every show.
That was a great concert we went to.
Oh my God, incredible, dude, incredible. So here's my quick timeline rundown of the Spanish Civil War. I told you that it started with a coup d'etat, and it did, just like everything does in Spain. The military does a lot of infighting, and it fractured within that. Now, what becomes interesting is the foreign intervention for Spain during all of this infighting, and who goes to what side. So, for instance, Hitler and the Nazis literally supply Franco with planes. Like hundreds of planes, dude. Hundreds of planes.
Planes he doesn't have.
And what's crazy
He
about
shouldn't
that,
have them, right?
if you think about this, because we did the Masters of the Air series, right? Hitler runs out of supplies
He does.
to a supply chain for all of his planes, which ultimately becomes his demise.
Yeah.
My now theory of piecing this all together is he probably should not have fed the Spanish all of this material for this war.
You're right. Between that and was like Norway where they lost some planes early on too. I think between those two things.
Like what? Like you fool. And then also Mussolini was supplying planes to Franco as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
United States was trying its damnedest to stay as neutral and away from it as humanly possible. But
Oversimplified does. I make the students watch his version of World War II, and his presidents running like their campaigns for World War II is, I will definitely not send men to war. And then the other one says, I will definitely not send men to war unless I have to. And then I will. which is whenever people are like, they're trying to stay neutral. That's what they're alluding to.
well, here's where I figured it out was the reality is when countries fight wars, they're going to need these supplies and these resources from somewhere. So businesses and corporations view it as an opportunity to make money. Namely, in this situation, was Texaco oil.
Yeah.
Wanted to supply to both sides, mind you. Now, the United States was like, ooh, so that's going to make it look like we're picking a side. So what they did was they figured out some international law where they could figure out how to be like, oh, don't worry. It's not the United States exporting this oil. It's Texaco Enterprises.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, so then we're good. And then so Texaco, that place where we all get gas, was supplying Franco with all of their oil. And it was hypocrisy of these Western democracies trying to say that they were staying neutral, when in reality, they fucking were.
The DuPonts were working right with Hitler.
There you go. Exhibit A.
America, in civilization games, they get it right because America is unfettered economic capitalists. And when you play them, You just want to expand, baby. I hope everyone goes to war. I make so much money in civilization if people go to war when I'm America. It's great.
Now, the terror and the counter-terror on both sides is pretty fucking crazy. Both George Orwell goes into this while he's there about what both sides do to each other, and it gets as crazy as trench warfare. So they practice like all forms of warfare in this war. It's crazy. They have trench warfare, they have aerial warfare, bombings, they have artillery, all of the above. And
so do you classify this as a civil war, or is this like Somalia? Like it's not even like to say it's a civil war is irresponsible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even think. I guess you kind of can because of all these different factions that I'm talking about.
But I guess everybody is propping them up, so it is just a weird.
That's a good point. It's hard. It is hard to call it a civil war.
Sure.
I guess that's fair. So we have our fascist aim, which is like obviously total control, and the Republicans are trying to be like, hey, maybe we should all just live amongst each other and have different ideas. That's fine too, right?
Yeah.
They can't fucking figure it out.
That's a Republican W right there. Like, so they're saying that we're willing to work with you as a political party, essentially. Like we can work
Yes.
as an entity. Okay.
Yes, but that's ultimately what becomes the left's demise, sadly, is them trying to come out with that. It's weird. Like I said, when human beings are in groups, dude, we get weird.
We do get weird.
And
see classrooms.
That's when, in 1937, you have the Barcelona fighting, where the leftist infighting, dude, becomes so fucking confusing. And the way that I learned about this, was me and AI, I have my little D20 app, and I did a like D&D style role-playing game of being a volunteer on the Poom during these leftist infighting, and it's fucked.
Yeah.
Because everyone questioned me everywhere I went, and I had to roll for everything because they don't trust you. They don't trust you. Try to show your loyalty. Try to show you're not showing loyalty. Now they don't. Now they have no idea who you are, and they think that you might be this. So it's important to know that, much like now when you swipe through social media, and you and I were just talking about it in this episode, we're like, I don't even know what the fuck is real anymore.
Yes.
That's what it became.
Yeah.
They didn't know what was real and what wasn't, and they didn't know who to trust and who not to trust. And this is essentially watching these leftists feed on their own sources of propaganda is where you got this idea of 1984, where George Orwell was able to show you like, hey man, people have different versions of the truth, and they try to shove it into people's face.
So were these left faction infightings, were they leading to like asymmetrical things, like one person, like charismatic leaders?
Great question. No, dude, way more espionage. Way more like going
just
into
backstabbing.
Dude, truly.
God damn it.
Way more like going into filing cabinets and burning records, things like that. And then again, you also, when you have things like communists, we all saw how that worked out in America. And when you have these people with all these different ideals, and then now Russia is involved, and like, we're going to help Russia, we're going to help Spain. And like, what? You guys are Russian. You're not even Spanish. So that was like confusing.
And so you have two different Russian groups working there?
Totally. Yeah, Trotskyists, and then you're a socialist. Yeah. I did you guys a solid. I didn't even break down all the acronyms and all this. I tried to make this as palatable as humanly possible.
So Spain comes out of this stronger than ever.
Dude, it's pretty grim. I'm going to get to it here in a second.
I imagine they never recover from this.
We're going to get to it.
Okay.
We're going to get to it. I mean, so the Battle of Ebro is how this all finally ends. It's essentially what Hemingway hinged his story on, was this bombing of a bridge, this famous bridge in the Battle of Ebro. And you remember how at the beginning of the episode I was talking about how human beings, when they don't have certainty, they try to make their own?
Yes.
That's how this ends. The Spanish people got so tired of this that I think, they collapsed under it. They were like, we have no more fighting left to do. we would prefer bread
Yeah.
than not bread.
Yep.
There was even one part of some trench warfare where the socialists had butter on their bread, and they were holding up signs that were saying that they had butter on their bread. And Dr. Seuss ended up writing a book about this, about the people on the other side of the wall that have butter on their bread. The ones that butter their
Whoa.
bread. Yeah, that's all a Spanish Civil War shout out. And ultimately, what happens is Franco and the fascists win, and Franco holds power until 1975, bro.
1975.
Yes, dude. Yes. Fascism, unfortunately, for sure won, and it was because they were sourced, but they had more resources, and essentially everyone else, the leftist infighting, they had no identity and central identity, and they were exhausted and didn't want. They preferred self-preservation over their ideologies
Yeah.
at the end of the day, which I think is a condition. Yeah, human beings need food. Go and go to the next.
So you're telling me Franco actually gets the best case scenario because he gets to skip World War II.
Oh yeah, dude.
So he's the only fascist who gets to survive.
Not only that, dude. Spain exports a bunch of shit during World War II. They sit back and export, so
Yeah.
they thrive in a post World War II. Now you have to remember, during World War II, they were rebuilding because
Yes.
they even, interestingly enough, would specifically keep. This is a very Spanish thing to do. They would keep certain buildings in rubble to show future generations what the Civil War did to them.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I read a little smattering to get ready for this episode, and the main differences was our boy George Orwell, who was in the trenches fighting, versus our boy Hemingway, who wrote a fictional novel called For Whom the Bell Tolls that fucking was not my favorite.
Yeah.
George Orwell, dude, like starts off his book by basically saying straight up, calling out his bias and being like, take that shit for what it's worth.
Yeah.
And he aims, I had a bunch of different notes here, but I'll probably just keep it to one. But he aims to basically say, like, if you are reading things in a newspaper and then making up conclusions about a political war or most things political, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. And he does a really good job of it. I mean, if you have not read this book, he goes into detail about what it feels like to get shot through the neck and survive.
Oh.
He has great detail about shooting at someone and watching them die from a long distance away and how horrible it made him feel.
Yeah, I bet.
And the biggest thing that I'm going to share here is he predicts a Charlie Kirk situation. And I'm going to read that here. So he says, the people who write the kind of stuff that never fight, possibly they believe that to write it is a substitute for fighting. It is the same in all wars. The soldiers do the fighting, the journalists do the shouting, and no true patriot ever gets near a frontline trench, except on the briefest of propaganda tours. Sometimes it is a comfort to me to think that the aeroplane is altering the conditions of war. Perhaps when the next great war comes, we may see the sight unprecedented in all of history, a jingo with a bullet hole in him. A jingo is somebody who's super patriotic, and all he does is just like espouses patriotism on like books and newspapers. And so that's what he's kind of trying to call out.
Yeah.
He's trying to say, like, these people that are going to be going around espousing like truth but aren't actually there are going to get killed.
Yeah.
And he was right, dude. He was absolutely correct. It's fucking crazy.
I would imagine that being in the trenches, like experiencing that every day, is one thing. Like you're in the reality of it. You're like, this this is the suck. It does not get worse than this unless I die. Actually, that would be better.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because right now I'm in suffering, and at least the suffering would be over then. I guess the only worst thing would be getting hit and not dying. That's the only thing that will be worse than right now. And then getting a letter from your family where they totally misunderstand what's happening. You're like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that would get me to write down some thoughts about that. Like,
that's a good
I was
point.
actually good with the suck, but now I'm mad.
Yes, and so that's very George Orwell. Whereas I'm going to try to briefly explain this, but Hemingway, reading it kind of pissed me off because he was a kid who was turned away from the army and wanted to be in the army, and then was, I believe, an ambulance driver for World War I.
Yes.
And then went to the Spanish Civil War to be a journalist and write these stories, and was quasi famous at the time, so had some pull as a famous person. And through his writing, I got the fact that he wished he was a soldier and wished he was a military man, and it felt like I was reading somebody who was drinking at the time. It just, at one point, there's like a scene where this guy is like running through and like grabs a woman and carries her somewhere. And he's like, and I could feel the breast against my chest, and that was a good thing. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. George Orwell was just way more honest, and Hemingway was like, I'm going to write something that's going to make me famous. It just felt very Stolen Valerie. But yeah, you can go to the next slide.
You better be careful. He'll punch you.
Yeah, he loves it. That's what he talked. But that gives coward. He's projecting. I want to be a man. I want to be a soldier.
Hey, but he punched Wallace Stevens.
While he was drunk, probably.
Yeah, I think they're both drunk at Key West.
All right, let's talk about the word fascism for a second. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
All right.
Fascismo.
So fascismo is the Italian word that starts like in 1919, and the Italians got it from the Latin word, which is a fasci or fascio. And fasci is just a group of sticks that is the handle for an axe.
Interesting.
Yes, it acts as like the unity of like a handle of like something strong that's going to break something, right? And obviously over time you have it breaking out into, like you said, the fascismo, and then the now fascism, right? Which means unity. And so there's kind of this ultimate question of, is the United States fascist? And I will personally say that I was talking to my wife about this last night, and I think that we have two fail-safes in our Constitution that keep us from being a fascist state. And the first one is our First Amendment, which is freedom of speech and press and all of that, and specifically the freedom of religion.
Yeah.
Specifically, as far as what we were just learning about fascism and how religion can seep into government. We straight up have in there it saying that no religion can be put above another.
Right.
That's based as fuck. And that is a failsafe against fascism. Am I saying that there are other religions that are better than others? Probably, but it doesn't matter as far as the government is concerned, right?
Are you talking shit on Jainism?
What is that?
Jainism was a religion, but they're so strict that a lot of them died of starvation. It's hilarious. I mean, it's not hilarious. It's sad. I went to a couple Jain temples. They're interesting.
I bet you did. And then lastly, and this is actually kind of a recent, like, I really like, whoa, I didn't even really think of this, but it is true. And I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it in the modern conservative sense, but the Second Amendment, unfortunately, is a huge failsafe against fascism. And the reason being is in Spain, when this was all going down, one of the main things that the church and the army wanted to make sure was that the proletariat, also known as the working class, was not armed.
Yeah.
They did not want them to be armed. And why the fuck do you think that is?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So as long as you have citizens who have an ability to take up their own arms and defend themselves, that's a huge deal, dude.
Yes. I think people should get away from the binaries that we talk about the Second Amendment in, because it's more like you're saying, not having the Second Amendment's fine if your police force and country also don't use those types of firearms.
Right.
Because then it would be fine if everyone just used BB guns. But like, I love a lot of things about Vacaville. But the fucking tank car thing that we have now,
Oh, the police car you're talking about?
the one that they
Well,
show off,
It's highly militarized.
It-
Which, by the way,
it is an armored tank.
Yeah,
It has no purpose
that.
being in this tiny town.
we're
in a big little town.
What Kevin's trying to say is our town does not need that.
We
We have a lovely town, very safe town.
is so
very
safe.
safe town.
And if
Yes.
we need Fairfield police,
yeah.
I'll go to Scandia and I'll shout from the top of hill number 3, and then they'll come on over. It's clear that Vacaville does not need a tank
He's
What-
speaking truth.
with a bunch of assault rifles and grenade launchers inside that thing, and they love to show it off.
Yeah, they do as much as they can in all of our parades.
And so
yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at with the Second Amendment. If you want to keep arming the enforcing officers, then you do have to have a complementary force of some degree for your citizens, because like you can't have an asymmetrical police force. That'd be fucking insane. But like in England, or like, England, for example, less guns, but also like police officers aren't using their guns all the time either. So it's different.
It's much different.
We could all de-escalate, including the police at the same time. That could be a factor, but we don't talk about it in that term. We talk about it as pro-Second Amendment or anti-Second Amendment. And I think
Yes.
that's where I have an issue. Like, there are more sides to this issue than just pro or anti, and I
Yeah.
would like people to have nuances about this.
And that's where I began the episode by saying, like, when you zoom out and you have the country, and then as you go, as far as what laws look like and what ideologies look like, every town is different.
Every town's different.
Fairfield.
Fairfield is very different from Vacaville.
Oh my God, worlds different. So, don't go around being like, oh, Spencer says, the USA is not fascist. Whatever. I want you to come up with your own conclusions.
Yes.
We'll end on this. Go ahead and go next.
Hold on, before that, I have a question for you.
Yeah, dude.
A lot of military veterans, and citizens too, in America, we like to elect veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still in that camp? Or do you think that we need more civilians controlling so that we can, as another safeguard against fascism?
See, I would hope.
Or is it case by case?
It's tough because when you have well-read veterans like General Mattis and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
and Spendley Butler, I feel like
Sure.
those types of veterans would keep you out of wars because they're like, man, I kind of went over there and that shit was stupid.
The non-gambling generals,
Yeah,
right? Like, because generals are gamblers,
totally.
but some of them are totally disillusioned to the gambling that they did.
As far as lives are concerned,
Yeah.
yes, dude.
And tactics and formations, all of it is gambling. It is playing
yeah,
map games, but
Yes.
you actually kill people on
Correct.
accident. It's crazy.
so there's that kind of general, but then there's also a General Flynn, like these guys that get into the QAnon stuff that realize they have a
Yeah.
lot of pull because average folks will look at them and be like, dude, he used to be a general.
yeah.
But even though generals are fucking people too, bro. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's twofold. There are military members that I think would absolutely be like too far gone and institutionalized. And I think that there's other military members that are like, hey man, my experience actually helped me grow and made me see politics from a different angle where I think that I can be an asset to be like a different perspective on the matter.
Okay, I feel bad for asking that question because I just said that we need more nuance in it, and then I was like, binary, are you for or against?
Sick battle buddies move. All right, let's end on this. Let me get to the next. All right, so here we are at the House of Representatives.
Where's the eagle? Oh, yeah, the eagle's not-
Eagle? Oh no, you're thinking of.
That's the Senate, right?
Yeah, I think you're thinking of the Senate. Okay, so we just talked about where the word fascism comes from,
Yeah.
right? A fasci. Okay.
Yeah, I just did that axe handle thing you're talking about.
Look it.
The magistrates would carry it.
Look it.
Oh, is that what that is?
So
Because of Rome.
on the left and right side of our American flag in the House of Representatives are fasces. Those are fasces, coming from the word fascism. They are handles woven together by a bunch of bundles of sticks holding a handle signifying unity.
E pluribus
Right?
unum.
Unity. Now, what is in the middle of those fasces? What's in the middle?
Looks like my dick.
The American
Mom.
flag. We got the American flag showing nationalism, right? And then above that, what does it say?
It says, "In God we trust."
In God we trust. In between two fasces and an American flag. And so you can walk into the chamber today and you can see that, those two right there, tightly brown, framing the seal of power. And the tragedy of Spain wasn't that people didn't know what fascism was. It's that they thought they were using the bundle when the bundle was using them. So, something that I just want the listener to think about as we go forth in the next couple of weeks, looking at some of the stuff happening with our country and bombing the shit out of Iran with Israel.
Yeah,
So
I sent Spencer some drunk, weird messages last night.
oh, that was post D&D
Yeah.
texting.
I'll just read the first sentence from the crazy guy that I was following. But Israel is the West Sin Eater. And I was thinking about that a lot. I gotta go to sleep. This is heavy.
Yeah, dude. Spanish Civil War. We did it. Fascism. You guys think about it for a little bit. You know what I mean?
I like flamenco music, you know?
So do I. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go watch Casablanca.
I've only watched Casablanca once.
It's okay. It's better than Citizen Kane.
I don't mind Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane is just long. It is good, though. But I think if you watch... I watched Citizen Kane over, I think that's a 2-night...
That's fair. It should be split.
during a week, you know?
Yeah.
When you're feeling artsy with your wife, and you're like, let's watch an art film.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's what I said. I'm like, can we watch an art film? And then sometimes she's like, all right, I'm like, oh, yeah, we'll do it over 2 nights.
Film. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to our series. I'm going to be posting all of my notes and my outline for this episode on Patreon, if that's something that you're interested in, the special features of our DVD. We appreciate the shit out of you guys for listening to us.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Spencer, you did really good.
Thanks, man. We're going to have some more Odyssey coming for you guys pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. We're ready.
Look for a taste for what's coming next for me is some Warlords.
Warlords. We haven't done Warlord.
A Warlord is coming up, dude.
We have not done a true Warlord.
We are doing a true Warlord.
Now we're going to do it. Hey, do you think another failsafe is that we move troops from base to base so no one can consolidate power? I've been thinking about it. I know it's frustrating for you active servicemen out there, especially those of you in army bands, because why do you have to move? But I just want you to know, I really appreciate that you guys move base to base so that you can't find loyalty under one lieutenant colonel.
Dude, shout out to my boy David, who's at our jiu-jitsu gym, because he was supposed to go compete next week, and he was like, I got a call from somebody and asked if I want to go to Germany, and I said, okay. So he left, and he's going to be gone for a couple months. Now, after seeing what happened last night, I have a pretty good idea of what he's probably helping support. So
yeah. I just had a buddy last night talk to me. His buddy got sent out to emergency deployment, so now he's taking care of that guy's house because it happened within 2
shout out
days.
to our service members. It's hot out there. It's hot out there.
Thank you to all those that are taking care of their cats and dogs.
Yeah.
No, because seriously, because those guys, he was freaking out about it. You know, you're just a dork. You know what you got to go do. You're trained to do it, but you're like, but I love my fucking dog. You know,
watch my cats.
Seriously, that's what they had a whole thing about it, and I was like, I really appreciate that you taking care of that guy's cats, man.
Fair
that
point.
means a lot.
Shout out to the folks who take care of the military members' cats, the unseen heroes of our country, dude.
Can we stop bombing people, please?
Man, yeah, bombing through peace, dude. We love all of you listeners, dude. Thank you for welcoming us into your ear holes. We appreciate the shit out of you guys. And until next time, so it goes.